What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nathan, and on this planet we send it. And what we're going to be getting in today, well, you can see here I still kind of got my tent up. I haven't put it away yet, and then it's going to be raining today, so yeah, it'll be up for a little bit longer. But what we're going to be getting in today is my first impressions of the Jeep Gladiator Mojave. And I'm saying first impressions, not necessarily first review, because I'm not really doing any analytic, review of it. I'm just kind of showing you what my thoughts were in the moment as I was there out on the trail for the first time in my Gladiator Mojave. So the plan for this video is I'm going to be using some of the same video clips of when I went out with the San Diego Jeep Club a few weeks ago in Johnson Valley, except in those clips you probably saw me playing music to it. Now you're going to hear some of the commentary that I was experiencing at that time. So the plan for this video is I'm going to be immediately showing you me doing some of my first rips and the dips and showing you the excitement that I had, when I was actually in it. We'll be doing about 2 or 3 pulls with that to kind of show you, give you an impression of at least my initial impressions. Then we're going to be hopping on with the San Diego Jeep Club and going out there. I'm going to be kind of showing you some places of where I was scraping, where I, first time in the Mojave. Other Jeep was an LJ. Some of the stuff was kind of new to me, kind of getting used to my new Jeep. And then other places it's going to be like, well, where I thought I was going to scratch, I didn't end up scratching. But I'm going to kind of do my best to show you, the intensity of the hills that where those conditions created either me scratching on the belly or scratching on the bumper. And then we'll just kind of go on around and then just wrap it up and give you guys sort of my initial review overall by the time we're all said and done. All right, I got a plan in place. Risks were acceptable. Let's go ahead and send it. Putting it into 4-wheel high for the first time. All right, we got the Mojave in 4 high. I don't got the drone going. Off-road plus unavailable. I am in 4-wheel drive. I am in 4-wheel drive. Trying to go into off-road. Says shift to... So what you're watching me struggle with is I was trying to get the Jeep into 4-wheel drive and the computer wasn't recognizing it, so it wasn't allowing me to put it into off-road plus. I was playing between 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low. Eventually I ended up in a 4-wheel low, but I think here you'll see me move a little bit, and then that allowed the computer to recognize it was in 4-wheel low. But this was a little frustrating point initially. All right, looks like I'm in off-road plus. And I'm in 4 low, testing out the 4 low in the Mojave. Let's give it a go. Feeling it out, it's feeling pretty good. I'm not sure what it's doing, but this feels pretty good. Woo! Oh, this feels smooth. Oh my goodness! I can't believe how smooth this feels. What? Oh my goodness! This is crazy. I cannot believe how smooth that was, and I wish I had it on drone so you can see how much I was bouncing with the Jeep. Man, that was crazy. I just wanted to go out and send a pin to my cousin so he knows where I'm at right now, where we're at here with the Jeep Club. So I'm heading out there, and I just figured I'd do that little test. So later on, I'm gonna grab my drone, and then I'll go ahead and we'll do some shots with the drone. But all I can say is first impressions with the Mojave, just kind of doing it. Granted, I was only doing maybe 40 miles an hour, but I was impressed. That was crazy. All right, I look forward to this weekend. I'll be seeing you guys later on. All right, good morning. We're here. I got the drone out. We're going to go ahead and do a couple rips and the dips and see how this thing does. So let's get going. All right. Hopefully the drone is catching it well enough. Woo-hoo-hoo! We're gonna slow. All right, I got the drone back on me. Hopefully you guys are getting the good shots, so the drone's giving you a good idea of how much bounce is happening inside the cabin here, or the lack of. It's very smooth. I'm now doing about 30 miles an hour. I don't want to go too much faster, but because the drone might not be able to keep up with me, but this thing is actually doing pretty good. I am hitting the bump stops. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of air. I don't know, but I'm definitely kind of gliding a couple of times as I come through these bumps. And so, yeah, it's feeling pretty awesome, pretty smooth. Extremely happy with the stock Mojave suspension. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing how else everything is going to be playing out today as far as how it's going to handle out there. I do not intend to air down because I kind of want to, and I do not intend to disconnect today because I kind of want to feel just straight up how a stock Mojave can handle the desert. Now, obviously, I know basically I know what it's not going to do by not doing those things, but I still kind of want to feel it out, see how smooth everything is. And so far with the Mojave, the suspension is just going to make everything smooth. So if it was just a matter of washboards, I would not air down at this point because the Mojave is just drinking up these dips. All right, I'll see you on the next stage when we get on out here to the actual run. So obviously I knew I was in a much longer wheelbase than my LJ, but this was sort of my we're not in Kansas moment anymore, because you'll see me going down this first hill right here, you know, no issues, but watch what happens when I go up this next hill. So that was my first belly rub, and you know, I will say I'm turning up the audio on the clips where I'm either grinding on the belly a little bit or grinding on the bumper, so it's not going to be as bad as it sounds. But yeah, that was my first time there, so from that point on I knew I had to be very careful on how I chose my lines. But it was that great day out in Johnson Valley in the very scenic environment. So we're coming up to the first technical section that really wasn't that technical. It was more like the first squeeze section. I'm going to have you listen to our trail leader here in a second give us a rundown, but you'll see why I was concerned.
As you come up this really steep incline, there is a boulder on the left-hand side, so I would recommend that you hug the right, because if you don't, you'll smash into it and destroy your steering, speaking from experience.
So that introduction had me thinking I was going to be rubbing on my heavy-duty rock rails. I was like, well, thank goodness I got my rock rails. So it made me pull in my handheld GoPro, so I didn't record the actual boulder itself. But you'll see me here going through, no issue. It was a little tight, but the Gladiator was actually able to get around it no problem with a little bit of steering to the right.
Top of the hill and watch out.
All right, good morning. So we are about an hour into our trip so far, a little bit over maybe an hour and 15 minutes. The Mojave's doing pretty good. The sort of Achilles heel or Achilles belly of this thing, you know, is showing itself in a couple of places, but not too bad. And definitely rubbing on the bumper a little bit, but very little. In a couple of places I thought where I was gonna hit, I didn't. So that's definitely reassuring, as I think I just heard a little tiny ding right there on the bumper, but again, not too bad. So I think that little inch that the Mojave has over the Rubicon Gladiator, excuse me, is definitely playing a big role on what I'm able to do out here. And if you're coming out here with the San Diego Jeep Club, to be honest, you should expect that if you're coming out here in a stock vehicle, for the first time, that you should be able to come out here no issues, because on official runs, we do not do runs that are highly challenging, at least not the official one. Like in places like Johnson Valley, people will break out and go, you know, do harder trails, you know, maybe a little bit more for the rock crawling, or maybe a little bit more for the desert, you know, the desert racing. So there's definitely obviously that option when you come out here. But so far it's a very beautiful day. The clouds are coming in, unsure when the rain's coming in. I was able to see it over there by Big Bear. I think it was actually probably snow what I saw, but when it gets over here it'll be rain. So yeah, just looking like we're gonna have a nice, you know, very scenic day on the trail, just enjoying a variety of different ecosystems that the desert has to offer. And it actually looks like we're about to get a little bit rocky, or maybe we're just about to do a U-turn and get over here to a different part of the trail. But we'll see how the Gladiator, the Mojave, does now. All right, and this is going to be one area that I'm not used to hitting on with such a long vehicle, such a long wheelbase, but let's see how we do here. I'm just going to kind of take it wide here. Don't got my rear lockers on right yet. coming around this pretty wide. And yeah, not too bad. Not necessarily very technical, just technical steering, if anything. Not necessarily technical for the whole Jeep, and was able to make it through no problem. All right, let's go on to the next section. So by this point on the trail, we're leaving some of the sandy areas and the light gravel, and we're getting into more of a hard rock area, maybe bedrock, and so the ground's going to be less forgiving on the skid plates. So you'll see me using the berms either on the passenger or driver's side to get up well up onto them so that I get the clearance underneath the Mojave for some of these sections. All right, this next section, a little bit of little waterfall. This should be, you know, somewhat easier for the Gladiator as long as I don't, you know, rub on the belly. So I did put it into 4 low. I think it's like 2.8 to 1, so not really that low, but it did allow me to put my lockers on. So we'll go ahead and putting those on right now. Correction, we have those on right now. And let's see here, just kind of doing my line back here. Got something in the back seat, I'm not sure what it is. And that was pretty easy. Got another section up here. I'm not sure how much of a up and down this is, but this might be one place where I get high center. Let's check it out. Can't tell really from being down low how much this is actually. Man, it's looking like it's not going to be too bad, but definitely want to stay away from this boulder on the side of me. All right, that was pretty easy. Pay attention to the width of this wash and the sharp decline by the sharp incline, because here's a bumper scraper. If you look at where the wheels are of Little Miss Pumpkin there, she just came out of there. As you go down this little wash and then you kind of put my front wheels into that little area, it was just enough to scrape on the belly. And that was something I was not anticipating. So we're leaving the hard rock area and getting into the sandy area where I think the Mojave really excels. And I say that because you'll see the JL in front of me on the next clip kind of bucking out early on as we go through the desert, but the Mojave just floating through it like a boat.
Sails rolling. Good copy. Sails rolling.
Good afternoon. So we just finished stopping for lunch. We stopped for about an hour. We're roughly about halfway done with the trail. Again, just going around seeing some of the most beautiful parts of Johnson Valley, just taking a nice real big scenic loop around the area. Nothing too crazy, just enjoying, you know, the fun on the trail and just seeing the sights here, and, you know, just getting a little bouncy as you kind of see me going. That kind of leads me into some my observation. I definitely think the Mojave, not playing with it, it does really good on like the washboards. Like when we start going over stuff, this thing is well planted. I don't even really feel the washboards at all or anything, you know, even some fairly, you know, good bumps. But definitely, as I was thinking, you know, it would be a little less sway if I released the sway bar up front. So that'll be happening next time I take it out. And then also I'll be very curious to see just how well this thing can do when I air it down. That'll be the next sort of test and everything. But so far I'm really happy with how the Gladiator's doing. You know, I definitely am getting a few spots of roughing it up on either the belly or on the rear bumper, but all in all it's not too bad. As a matter of fact, going down another place right now, that might be a rear bumper scraper. Let's see. And it didn't do it. Okay, but see, yeah, that's just kind of what it's been for me as I'm going through these areas. I keep thinking after watching all the videos on the Rubicon Gladiators out there that I'm going to be scratching stuff, but this seems to be just high enough, at least in this area, to avoid all that. All right, let's kick it off and we'll just keep seeing some of the most beautiful areas that Johnson Valley has to show for us as we're getting tossed around. All right, let's go ahead and send it. It'll be a little bit more obvious as I come around, but I'm actually on a bypass to where everyone else was going straight. They actually recommended that stock Gladiators just go through this bypass because there was a 2-foot drop off and I didn't feel like coming down hard on my bumper. But this actually turned it out to be a pretty fun section where it got a little technical due to the tight squeeze and the steering I had to do.
You got it, Glenn.
Sammy, can you pull forward because I'm taking this optional way back up to you? So on the next clip, which will be the last thing that I show you, we get to a technical section that really wasn't that long, maybe 15, 20 feet, maybe a little more. But the only thing that was kind of challenging about this section is I was having to put my driver's side wheels way up on the berm, as you can see me following my spotter's lead there. And yeah, although the GoPro doesn't show it very well, at least how it feels inside the cockpit because it's so close to the window and it can see better than I did, but it felt like my wheels were just getting ready to go off the side of the cliff. But I was actually surprised in this technical section how well the Mojave did. Thank you, sir. All right, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. And I'll just say, without, again, very little analytic rigor, I am very happy with this Jeep. There were some things in there that I'm going to be talking about at my actual initial review, or my when I do that here in maybe a month or two, that I wasn't too happy with. But overall, I definitely am very happy with this Jeep. It felt significantly more planted than my LJ, although my LJ is a little bit top heavy. I kind of want to get at that too. But I just felt very grounded, very safe, and it was a very smooth ride. given the expected awesome performance of the shocks, and and obviously I know when I remove the sway bar and air down, it's going to be a lot better when I go out for the next time, which potentially is going to be the weekend, well, this upcoming weekend, because I'm heading out to the first week of KOH. I guess the second weekend of KOH because they just opened, but yeah, we'll be out there during the official second weekend of KOH. Not that I'm going to be out there, ripping and dipping out there anymore. It's just more of a spectator. But yeah, that might be my next opportunity to do it. If not, I'll definitely be looking for the next opportunity shortly after. All right, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.